It's a pretty good story. Yeah, everybody asked me about the story. Everybody, hey, tell me about the Lex Luger story.
Okay, so Bill's going to tell us he's got a fun Lex Luger Bruiser Brody story, which I have a feeling that Bruiser Brody's going to teach Lex Luger a lesson. And
kind of.
Kind of.
It's actually a funny story. Everybody likes the story. Anybody who's a wrestling buff likes the story, and if they haven't heard it, they always ask him about, oh, you were the referee in the Bruiser Brody cage match against Lex Luger.
Yep.
Tell us what happened.
Yeah,
I said, okay, this is what happened, and this is a huge story. And nothing personal against Lex because he didn't know any better. He's a young green guy who they put in there with older superstars, been around for years, and kind of not a shit disturber, but kind of a do what he wants type.
He was a bad dude. I just saw him against Jeep Swenson, and he beat the crap out of Jeep Swenson.
There you go.
360 pounds of muscle.
So Bruiser Brody was a big guy. God bless him.
Right? And
he got stabbed in
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, and the boys, black boys protested, won't go to Puerto Rico for
Atlas wouldn't go,
years.
etc.
And nothing against promoters down there, because I know Carlos Colon personally, and I went there and worked for Colon before all this happened. So the Bruiser Brody story is, it was Bruiser Brody against Lex Luger in the steel cage match, and that was a big event back then. Now they're all over the place, ladders and tables and chairs. You know what I mean? But it was a big thing. So Luger, for the first year, they kind of handpicked his opponents and babysitted Lex, because, you know, he had a beautiful body. He never was a great worker. You know what I mean? You can watch him and tell he wasn't no Ray Stevens or no Barry Windham. He got by and he had a great body, though. You know, it was Lex Luger. And they put him with Bruiser Brody, so Lex wanted to talk to Bruiser before the match, kind of talk about a little bit, you know, introduce him, but Brody didn't want to be bothered. And call it in the ring. Whatever happens in the ring, that's what happens. We're talk to each other in there, whatever. Sports entertainment. I'm not breaking kayfabe. Everybody knows the business is a work. Vince McMahon don't care. Any publicity is good publicity. So any wrestlers, don't get mad at me for saying shit like this. You know what I mean? Tell a wrestler, telegraph. Get over it. So that's the shoot. So they put them together with Brody. They had their match. They did a couple of little lock-up push-offs, you know. And Brody started beating him down. Boom, right away. Getting the heat out of beating him down. And Luger saying, Fonzie, you know, he's asking, what do I do? I said, just listen to Brody. He's going to be all right. He's going to be all right. He ain't killing you. He's in him snug, though. And now Lex is taking offense because he's never been treated this way. He's always been ripped off the undershirt.
Oh, yeah.
Like Hogan.
Kills everyone, right.
Do that, and the big star. So he tried to make a comeback on his own. Started hitting Brody, and Brody no-sold him. So hit him all you want, hit him in the head, boom, 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 nothing. And finally, you know, Brody started beating him up again. Not really bad, just sports entertainment kind of beat up. And Lex panicked so bad. This is the main event in Fort Lauderdale at the War Memorial in a cage. He panicked so much, 6 minutes into the match, 4 minutes into the match, he panicked so much that he's just climbed over the cage, ran to the dressing room, jumped in his car, and drove back to Tampa. End of story.
So,
and I held Bruiser Brody's hand up, the winner. Disqualified Luger for count out. 7, 8, 9, 10 disqualified. Brody the winner.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's kind of, you know.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Brody was a bad dude.
Personal story, you know what I mean?
Okay. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about moving from Florida to the next territory?
Well, at that time, Florida was kind of shutting down. All the smaller territories were kind of shutting down because Vince had already taken over. had World Wrestling Entertainment. His dad passed it to him, and Vince is the king of wrestling, right? Who's bigger than Vince?
Nobody.
Ted Turner?
No.
No. Ivan Putski? No. Missouri Mauler?
No, not even close.
Nobody. Donald Trump? No. Vince McMahon is the sports entertainment king. And I love you, Vince. Thanks. You sent me to Betty Ford 2 times. I appreciate it. And I'd like to work for you again. Thank you. So the cables were taking over, the pay-per-views and so on. And there was either Ted Turner or Vince. And I had already been connected with Dusty, and I was Dusty's left-hand man. I mean, you know what I mean? They trained me for 10 years in Florida, from the Funks to everybody. Eddie molded me to be spectacular referee. In fact, they flew me to Japan just to referee the Fujinami Ric Flair match, the first joint show, WCW and All Japan, Fujinami, against each other, sold out, 65,000 people, special referee to do the match. They asked me to fly out and do this match. Of course, I said, yeah, I'll be here, thank you. So it was well liked. So the territories were shutting down because Ted Turner and Vince were taking over the world.
Right.
And they did. And they fought each other tooth and nail for a while. So I was lucky enough to call Dusty and said, okay, I'm ready to come up. My private life was over down here, and I moved up to Atlanta. I didn't move up there, based out of here, but worked for Turner. And worked out quite well.
So he brought you in as a referee?
Brought me in as a referee. And was there, knew everybody there, and well liked, and worked there for quite a while. And then they brought the Giant Gonzalez in.
Is it Jorge Gonzalez?
Jorge Gonzalez, yes, exactly. They called him El Gigante in WCW. Then Vince got a hold of him. I'll tell you, that's a good story about how the transition. So that's coming up in a second. So I worked real well there. The Giant came in. They originally brought him in to play basketball for the Atlanta Hawks. A scout found him somewhere in
working
Europe.
with Turner still, Hawks, Turner, and WCW.
So they brought him in to play for the Hawks from European basketball.
Argentina.
And they spent $1 million on him, trying to get him in shape, hired a nutritionist, put him at the CNN building in downtown Atlanta.
At that size.
Peachtree Street, whatever it is. And they wanted him to become a basketball player. But he couldn't pass. NBA's very demanding. You got to play 100% in the first quarter, 99% in the second quarter, 98% in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, you got to play 100%. And his knees were already shot. Plus, he was 7'7" on the shoe, 22 shoe. We used to get the shoes at Friedman's in Atlanta. That's a free plug, Friedman's. And they brought him in to do that, but he couldn't pass the inspection. I got you, Rap. Don't rap Bill Alfonso up. I can talk all night long, Daddy. They brought him in to play for the Hawks, but he couldn't pass the inspection, so they made him a pro wrestler. He said, wrestling, what's that? We'll teach you. We'll give you another couple $100,000 to teach you, and you become a pro wrestler and make millions.
All right. Well, we should ask you more about Elegante here in a moment. Absolutely.
Oh.